Hey YouTube, this is gonna be like my first ever video, which is crazy because I'm just like, my first ever video is gonna be a podcast, just talking about a lot of things that you guys have a lot of questions about because I recently came out with a video. There's even a lot of people who have a lot of assumptions. Will say though, like when I first started content creating, like I did not have a strong backbone. Like I remember like I would like go through the comments and it would like literally eat me up that I would sit on the couch and I would just cry to my fiance because I'm just like, I don't know like if I'm meant to do this. Like I don't know if I can do social media. Like it was so hard. The comments on Facebook are diabolical. Actually, like it's a lot of older like people. Let's just get straight into this video. So growing up, my parents weren't like really like involved. Like they weren't really there, but they were there obviously. My mom was doing drugs and then my dad was just in and out of jail. My whole childhood, my dad was like gang related. Like he was just affiliated with that lifestyle. I knew I was a daddy's girl. Like I was an absolute daddy's girl, but it just like I couldn't be a daddy's girl because he wasn't involved in my life like that. And then as far as my mom, she did have me when I think she was like 12 or 13. I want to say 13 if I'm not mistaken. I think she was 13 and my dad was like 15, 16, around there. Now, I am the only child that my parents had. I'm like the single child that they had. I didn't even know how old my mom was when she had me until like maybe a couple years ago, which is crazy because there's just a lot of things that I don't know about my childhood that I'm like still sitting here like to know all of the details. But it's just so hard to get all that information because I just, every time I reach out, I really don't get that information. Getting to know me in my life, it can be a little confusing because I do have other siblings, but they have different dads. So my mom has like different baby daddies. I was basically like raised by like my grandma on my dad's side and then my grandma on my mom's side. Honestly, like I loved it. Like I just felt like my mom wasn't mentally there. Like she was there, but like mentally and physically and emotionally, like she was not there. Like I would go places with her, I would do things with her, but it just didn't feel like that relationship, like that bond. Like my relationship and my bond was with my grandma's. On the weekends, I would be so excited to go to my grandma's house. My grandma, she's a nurse, and when I was a little girl, so she was always working at the hospital. So like even though she was working in the hospital and she was a nurse, like she was always there like taking care of me and my needs. There was not a day where she did not like put her backbone into me. It was always just like giving her all, like always. So growing up, I lived with my mom, but I was raised by my grandma Honey. I called her Honey because when I was a little girl, every time I would make a mess in like my room, because back then, like my grandma had like this really big like toy chest, like it was made out of wood, and every time I would make a mess, my grandma Honey would come in and she would be like, Caitlin, like we need to clean up, like we need to pick up your toys. And I just remember sitting on the floor just singing the word, gave her the nickname Honey. And so like it's always stuck with her. So like even her other grandchildren would be calling her Honey. And like it's funny to think like I was her first grandbaby and I called her Honey. And so it stuck with her. Like grandma was not an option. Like it was Honey. Like she was known as my honey. I remember going to church every Sunday with my grandma. Like I think it was every Saturday or Sunday. Like I can't remember, but I remember I would always go to church with her. After my sister was born, my second sister, which is my mom had a different baby daddy. So she's a single of just between them two. So it was my mom and then her boyfriend. They had my second sister. And she was with us for a little bit. He got custody of her, so she ended up living with him. So it was just me at the time. My mom met another guy, had my other sister. It's me and my little sister. My mom had me like doing the most craziest shit. I remember I was dressed in like a jacket and some sweats, and so was my mom, I think, at the time. We go into this liquor store. I remember walking into the doors, and my mom goes straight for like the wine and alcohol aisle. It's like stuffing her purse and like stuffing like her jackets and everything. And I was looking at her. I was like, like I knew what she was doing was wrong because I think I was like 5. I think I was 5 or 6 around there because majority of the things that I do remember that like had a lot of trauma for me was like the age of 5 or 6. So I want to say I was maybe 5. But when I tell you, my mom gave me what type of alcohol it was or wine or whatever, told me to put it in my shirt. Question my mom, like, why are we doing this? Like, what are we doing? Somebody caught on. I think they were watching the camera and my mom just like booked it. Like she booked it out and I was running after her. Like now that I'm thinking back at it, I'm just like, you really left me in the store behind you running. Me carrying alcohol while you're over there like just booking it to the car. I'm like, what kind of mother would just leave her child? Now, this is where my mom started. I feel like she started using drugs even more, is when she met her third baby daddy, which is when she started using drugs a little bit more heavy. There'd be times where we would go to his place and then we would be sleeping on the mattress on the ground. And sometimes, like, you know, like, now that, like, I'm remembering, like, little details here and there, like, when I would go over to his house, his mom would make me, like, arroz con leche, or she would make me, like, pozole, or she would just make me just stuff. Like, I'm actually thinking about it. I think in my childhood, I can't really remember, like, sleeping in a room. On my right finger, like, indents in the middle, so it kind of looks like a wave. I remember laying in the living room on the floor because I didn't have a bed. There was a room. I had a room, but I didn't have a bed. And I remember laying in the living room, laying on the floor. Next to me was a fan, like a little floor fan, right? My hand out of the sleeping bag and I went like this. And as soon as I like kind of just like laid back like this and I had my arm moved out like this, my finger went inside the fan and it tore off my whole nail. Like it took the entire nail off. And it took a while for it to grow back, and ever since it grew back, it just has an indent. I do these classes with my mom every morning because I think at the time my sister got taken away, and I think my mom was like trying to get her back. They were like, well, if you want your daughter back, you have to go to these classes. And I just remember like always going with her. Mom is doing the classes. She still had custody of me. I don't know how she had custody of me still. We got my sister back. She could not stay clean. Like too far into it that like she just needed to keep doing it. I was so scared of my mom, and I would get hit with those hangers. You know, like those little metal hangers, those like thin ones? Yeah, I would get like whipped with those. Or, you know, like those little like nostalgic like TVs, like growing up, like, I don't know. I think I had like the Mickey Mouse TV. I'm not too sure. Either like the Mickey Mouse TV or like the Princess TV. I had one of those, and sometimes like she would grab like the antenna from that TV and whoop me with it. Those are one of the many reasons as to why I would always just obey my mom. So a few days prior before getting taken away, I remember coming home from the store with my mom. And I just remember she was just so mad. Like she was so angry. Her boyfriend was my two other siblings' dad. She comes barging in the bedroom. On the bed was her boyfriend. All I seen my mom is she grabbed a fork from her pocket. She stabbed him in the leg with it. We're standing there screaming, like saying, "Stop, mom! Like stop! Like why are you doing this?" I grabbed my sister and I just covered her eyes, but took her out of the room. Probably like something I wish I had never like witnessed. But at the age of 6, I did get taken away with my two siblings. 2 hours before I had gotten taken away, I'm gonna tell you how we got taken away. Mom and her boyfriend were sitting like at the edge of the bed. I'm sitting right here next to my sister, and then towards like the right side was my brother in a bassinet. Electricity, we had no water. Like I don't know if my mom forgot to pay the bill. The room, it was filled with candles. They are sitting at the edge of the bed and drugs. My brother sitting on the right side in the bassinet, his blanket was kind of like hanging out of the bassinet, but like it was still covering him. All I remember was my brother's blanket caught on fire. Mom's boyfriend ran out of the room. Mom grabbed my brother and left me and my sister on the bed. It spread so quick that me and my sister were sitting on the bed. Already had reached the door. Like there was no way I'm gonna be able to get out of there. Mom eventually did come back and come get me and my sibling. I had to jump over the fire. The hallway kind of like went long straight, and then it like made like a left turn. I remember like falling and slipping because I could not see. Like there was water everywhere. Next to my apartment was my aunt. Apartment was next to our apartment, and out water. We got out. I remember seeing like firemen. I remember seeing policemen, and then eventually the social workers showed up. They did find drugs in the house, so I feel like that was one of the reasons why we also got taken away. But not just that, like they have been searching for me and my siblings for the longest. I just remember that night I was calling my grandma on my dad's side. She was a nurse, and she still is a nurse. We're calling and calling and calling. Hearing from the social worker, she was like, if you have somebody that can come get you as a family member, they can come get you. It didn't pick up because she was working. You know, at that age, I didn't understand. But now, like, now looking back and, you know, me being 25, I can just kind of just like understand, like as a nurse, like you can't really be on your phone. Like you're always running around. You're doing something. I just remember like getting in the back of the car with my siblings, or just like being taken away. Despite everything my mom did, and despite everything that I went through, and like for my age, like I didn't want to be taken away from her. I remember screaming like, "Mom, like I love you, like I don't want to leave." I was screaming for like 30 minutes straight, driving to like a place, I guess, for like a placement. It was only for like a couple of days. I did get placed in another home where I did stay longer. And I tell you, I did not see my siblings at all. I only get like a little glimpse of them. The foster mom that I had just kept my brother and my sister in her room in like a crib. I never really ate as much at her house. If she did feed us, it was just like I never got to see my siblings. I never stepped foot outside of like the crib. She did not buy us clothes. And I know like when you're placed in the system, like, you know, you do get spending money for clothes. And then like at the end of like buying everything, you need to like provide like a receipt and everything. Well, I'm going to be honest with you guys. I do not remember my foster mom, not one bit, buying us clothes, feeding us food a lot. And I never got to see my siblings. She said I had lice, and I never had lice when I got taken away. It was really long, and she said I had lice, and she completely shaved my head bald. While her friend was cutting my hair, she said, I don't see lice. Her mom, she looked at her and said, oh, like she has lice. I just tried to take some out as much as I could, but I did not have lice, you guys. I remember when she shaved my head bald, like I was insecure for the longest until it started growing out. Age of 10, I was placed in a home. People that adopted us originally just wanted my two younger siblings because they were the youngest, and obviously like they're not going to remember what happened. Like I understand why people try to like adopt younger kids, because they don't have that trauma. Like they don't remember what they went through. They don't know why they got taken away. A couple days later, he comes back and says, I want all three of you. I remember sitting in the car driving to Fresno. I was ready to get out of foster care. I wanted to be adopted. So for a few months, everything did get finalized. So at the age of 13, we did move to the Philippines because my parents were just tired of like living in California. So we moved to the Philippines, and I enrolled into a schooling over there. And when I tell you, their schooling is so different compared to like over here. Go to like middle school or high school here, like I never really got to experience like that party life. Like I never got to experience going out with your friends and going to the mall and just stuff like that. Like when I turned 15, this is where I meet my ex baby daddy. I don't even like saying that word, honestly. So we're just gonna say ex ghost, because I say it was around like December or January. We were talking for a while, together at 15, so we were dating for a while. Say a year before I got pregnant, because it just started to like go down. Not like really down, but like you could see like a little slant in like in our relationship. So on my birthday in December, when I turned 17, I found out I was pregnant. Like literally, guys, I found out I was pregnant on my birthday. I will say, before I did get pregnant, I did come to my mom and I was like, hey mom, like, let you know, me and this person is sexually active. Like, is there any way I can get on birth control? She looked at me and said no, because you're just gonna ruin your body if you're on birth control. Even though I should not have been sexually active, I was just like, okay mom, like I understand. Relationship with my mother-in-law was like a horrible, you guys. Be in my face screaming, or it would get to the point where like she almost was going to hit me. And mine and my ex's relationship for the most part was good. Like we were excited for our daughter. Towards the end of like when I'm about to give birth, we were just going downhill. Like he would put hands on me. It was bad, you guys. Like it was bad. September hits, daughter was born. It's when I tell you, giving birth in another country is completely different. Oh my god. My labor with my daughter was 17 hours. Unmedicated, no epidural. When it came time to pushing, put me into this big empty room. My scene was just a light. I just remember tearing a 3rd-degree tear. Numbing medicine down there, like that was hard. Like being stitched up, it was just, oh my god, it was so hard. They rushed her to the NICU, and I just remember laying there when I was getting stitched up. I think from like all the pain I was feeling down there, like being stitched up, I passed out. I stayed passed out until like the next day in the afternoon. Woken up saying like, ma'am, like wake up, like your daughter's hungry. She's not taking the formula. Like it's been a really long time since she's 8. They bring her to me, and she was like so tiny, you guys. Had chubby cheeks. Her head was like full of hair. Like she was like the most prettiest baby like that I seen. I noticed like her skin color was yellow, which usually like Asian babies are prone to like jaundice and whatnot. And my daughter was born, like just me and my ex, we weren't on good terms. Mother-in-law gets to the hospital and she wants to hold the baby. Keep in mind, you guys, like mentioned, like me, my ex-boyfriend and his mom, like we were not on good terms. Like she was holding my daughter. I started seeing my daughter choking. I wasn't doing anything, you guys. Like she was just holding the baby, bouncing my baby, just yelling at my dad. And I'm like, Dad, can you take the baby from her? He took my baby and rushed her to the NICU. She was not breathing. She was having a hard time breathing. And I just remember she was in the NICU for like 5 or 7 days. And they said I could be discharged, but I told them, I was like, no, like I want to stay here until she's okay. Like I want to stay here until she's able to get discharged. That's when I want to get discharged. comes the birth certificate. They brought the birth certificate so we can go over everything and make sure everything was completely, fine, correct. And I remember my dad coming up to me and he was like, don't put him on the birth certificate. Ex-boyfriend overheard and he came up to me and he was like, you need to put me on the birth certificate. If you don't put me on the birth certificate, I will take her from you. Me being 17, I was so scared, like hearing those words, that I just went ahead and put him on the birth certificate. And not only that, you guys, like also too, like I just didn't want to be a bad mom. Like if, my daughter were to grow up and be like, why isn't my dad on the birth certificate? Like I didn't want to be that parent. Like I didn't want to be a bad mom. So that also kind of made me just put him on the birth certificate as well. Everything just went downhill from that. The abusiveness and the arguments and the fighting would just get worse and worse and worse. Like when you're in a relationship for so long, for so many years with that person, and it just became to the point where it was just like really toxic and abusive, like that's all like it's going to be hard for you to get away. And I know some people are going to be like, it's not hard, just pack up your shit and leave. Easy to say, just pack your things and leave, but it's actually not when you're actually in that relationship and that's like all you've ever known, just like abusive and toxic. Like it was just hard for me just to get away. It did get to the point where it was just like I would sit there and I would tell myself, I'm like, I don't want to be with this man no more. Like, I don't love him like that no more. Like, I want to get away. Like, I want to be free from all of this, like, this pain, like this trauma. After I had my daughter, you guys, like, our relationship was like, he would only want to come to me for intimacy. He would be playing basketball all day. I was never really allowed to go out with friends. I was never really allowed to do anything. I always just stayed inside his house, just waiting for him to just come back home because like you guys, like I was in a house where like I did not get along with his mom. I felt super uncomfortable just being there. Like I just wanted to go home, but I knew if I were to go home, he would get so mad, you guys. But he would play basketball all day. He would come home, want me to have intimacy with him. Having intimacy, like he would just get up and just leave again. Point where I just started realizing that, and it made me just not want to be with this man no more. Like actually just tell him straight up. I'm like, hey, like I don't want to be with you no more. I'm not in love with you. My books, we weren't together. I broke up with him. But in his books, we did not break up and we're still together and he still owns me. The day after school, he said, let's go to the mall. I was like, okay, we'll go to the mall. We get to the top of the mall and there's just so many people obviously shopping that day. And I just remember turning around and seeing this man get on his knees and he said, will you marry me? In the eyes and said, no, I do not want to marry you because I don't love you no more. Upset. I'm not sure if I'm pretty sure he was upset because I told him no, like I didn't want to marry him. But I remember he was taking me home and we lived in a subdivision. So like from the gate to my house, so like this is the gate of the entrance of the subdivision and like way over there is my house. So in order for me to get to my house, it has to be like a car or it had to be like the little bus that they had like at the entrance of the subdivision. But he was just arguing with me and he was fighting with me. And I had bought this new purse. Like it was a backpack tote and it was like a turquoise color because that's like my birthstone. So that's why I got it. And like, I'm not going to say I was a goody two shoe. No, like at that point I was already fed up with him. Like I was just fighting with him. Like I was arguing back with him. Like I did not give two fucks. He grabbed my bag and he ripped it and yanked it off my shoulder. He took me home. I remember when we got inside my doors, he looked at my mom and gave her my bag and said, yes, I broke your daughter's bag. I pushed her. I don't think my mom said anything since, we weren't together no more. We were sharing, like we were splitting. So like I would have her like for these days and he would have her only on the weekend. Remember when he picked me up from school, he was like, we need to go to my house to go get the diaper bag so you can take it home. And in my head, I already instantly knew what this man wanted. Couldn't you bring it when you picked me up? And he was like, oh, well, it would have been too hard to drive the motorcycle. If you're from the Philippines or if you've been to the Philippines, you can see 6 people. You'll see a whole family of 6 people on a tiny ass motorcycle. 2 bags on the handles of the motorcycle with like fresh food, like vegetables, fresh meat from like the market early in the morning. In my head, I'm like, that should not have been an issue. Like you grabbing the bag and putting it on the handlebar of the motorcycle should not have been a problem. I go in the room and I grab the diaper bag and then I turn around and he's behind me, tries to make out with me. I guess a month later, I found out I was pregnant. I remember going pee with my mom in the bathroom and I took the pregnancy test. My mom took the pregnancy test, went upstairs and grabbed her card. She booked me a plane ticket and said, you're going back to the States. And that's when I put 2 and 2. I was like, I would not be able to take my daughter. And the dad is on the birth certificate. And 2, she doesn't have her dual citizenship, nor does she have a passport. Like knowing I only had like a few days with my daughter left. And it came to when I had to leave. And I just remember just like seeing my daughter in the car and like, I was like, trying so hard not to break down. Got on the plane, I was just crying and crying and crying. I'm just like why was I forced to leave my daughter? Like, I didn't want to leave her. And I've been seeing like a lot of comments saying like I'm a bad mom, like I'm a deadbeat, like I left my daughter and I started a new family and I forgot about her. And why do I keep having more kids knowing I have my firstborn in the Philippines? Like, you know, like those comments hurt a lot. But like you guys like don't understand, like I'm trying. I'm 19 and even until like now, like I'm about to turn 26, like I have been trying nonstop for my daughter. And every time like I reach out to like either my mom or like sometimes like my ex-boyfriend, like I reach out and I'm just like, you know, it's been this many years. I'm really gonna keep this short just because my camera is going to die pretty soon. But basically, in order for me to bring my daughter here, I have to have his signature. And right now, it has not been successful. He is still on that bitter side. Oh, hold on. She's actually calling me right now. Yes?
Is Aaron there?
No. He's coming home right now, okay?
Well, are you doing something?
Yes.
Girl, I see you doing like a mic thing.
Okay, I love you.
Love you.
Bye.
Bye.
I'm gonna make this quick because my camera is going to die. But basically, you know, a lot of you guys are saying, why did I abandon her? Why did I leave her? Why am I not getting her? No, I'm not abandoning my daughter. Right now, the situation is very hard, and in order for me to bring my daughter, I need her dad's signature. And right now, it hasn't been successful. He tells me that he doesn't have time, and I am trying so hard to find a way to get her without having to deal with this whole issue with what a narcissist and all of that. Really gonna go full into depth about the situation with my daughter and why she's not here, just because I am trying to get my daughter here. And in order for me to do so, I just need to just cooperate and just work with her dad and see if we can come to terms about something. I kind of just explained whatever I wanted to explain to you guys. And it may not be answers that you're looking for. It may not be something you wanted to hear and you were probably expecting more things. But I'm not going to give you guys that. I'm just giving you guys what I want to share with you guys for now until I'm ready to go further into depth about things. But if you want to see more podcasts, or if you just want to see like maybe a get down with Jessie about how we met, or just questions you want to ask, or like telling us like your deepest darkest secrets and we read them like anonymous name while we're having like a mukbang, please let me know. Okay, write down in the comments. I love you guys. Mwah. Bye.